We're here at one of the UK's most iconic circuits for the BRSCC Brands Hatch Race Day for a second dose of action. The British Racing and Sports Car Club are featuring some of their most popular championships here today, and it's all about high entertainment and low cost, featuring grassroots motorsport.
First up, the Dunlop TVR Challenge, where the emphasis is on fun and close racing, as was proven in the weekend's opening encounter.
Yesterday we had the first 4 cars separated by 2 seconds after 20 laps, and all the drivers come in with great big beaming faces going, fabulous. This is what motorsport was about and still is with us.
Here's the grid then. Hugh Marshall, the winner of the first race on pole position. Andy Race starts second. Keith Vaughan-Williams and Perry Wadhams on row 2. Jamie Golby and Martin Crass start the race on row 3. Looking back then from Andy Race's car, and the race gets underway as they charge up towards Paddock Hill Bend. This looks like a decent start for Andy Race here, and indeed he's gone past Hugh Marshall there, the pole position man. Hugh Marshall dropping straight down to 3rd place because Perry Wadhams gets through as well. As to the Tasmans, number 40 Lee Jones going around the outside of Alex Gore. Meanwhile, the race leaders come up towards Druids for the first time. Hugh Marshall under attack here, this time around the outside from number 23 Jamie Golby, and that's a great move from Jamie Golby from 3rd row of the grid to get straight up to 3rd place. Meanwhile, behind there's a spinner, number 88 Keith Vaughan-Williams loses it coming out of Druids, and this may be related to 1 or 2 spots of rain that have started to fall since the race began. There though is the race leader. 2nd place to the number 77 Tuscan of Perry Wadhams. Right behind him in 3rd, number 23 Jamie Golby. Then it's the pole position man Hugh Marshall down to 4th place. Then the purple machine of Darren Smith, number 58, running in 5th position. 6th place then belongs to number 21 Martin Crass as they come back in towards Paddock Hill Bend. And there is Hugh Marshall going around the outside this time of number 23 Jamie Golby to regain a place. So back up to 3rd position for Hugh Marshall, hugely experienced racer with 3 decades of experience, having done everything from rallies all the way through to British GT. Long-time exponent, though, of TVR racing. 4th, 5th and 6th then in close formation just behind. There are 3 classes in the Dunlop TVR Challenge, and it's a Class B car that leads. The Class A cars, the more powerful machines, but it is Andy Race up ahead at the moment, chased down by 2 of those Class A cars. We've got Class C as well, predominantly for the TVR Tasmans, which are still pretty powerful machines. There is Hugh Marshall. He's got 450 brake horsepower in that number 3 Tuscan, and he's starting to make it work now, closing the gap, pulling away from that man, number 23 Jamie Golby. 4th and 5th are pretty close together as well, and in fact, Darren Smith there in the number 58 Tuscan, the purple machine, is drawing alongside in this battle for 4th place. We've also got to watch out for number 21 Martin Crass, and he now comes up the inside with a late braking move on the way to Paddock Hill Bend, and that was a lovely move to get ahead of Darren Smith, who was on the attack himself, so he's probably somewhat surprised to lose a place. And carrying the speed through and up Hellwood Hill into Druids Corner now goes Martin Crass, number 21, and he makes another move stick. Yes, he does. Through he goes. Here's a replay of it. Well, this is a great move from Martin, who's a relatively inexperienced racer. Here we go then, side by side, number 77 Perry Wadhams under attack here from Hugh Marshall, trying to go around the outside of him, but Perry stands his ground, holds the inside line on the way to Paddock Hill Bend. The circuit just drops away then, and they climb now up towards Druids Corner, the tightest corner on this Indy circuit. Late on the brakes then for Perry Wadhams, who goes too tight on the inside, 2 wheels, 4 wheels on the grass. Hugh Marshall around the outside of him to pick up 2nd place, and Perry now I think was struggling there because he was defending so fervently from Hugh Marshall and went too tight to the inside line. He can't get the speed back up either, and into Graham Hill Bend through comes another car, number 21 Martin Crass, to pick up 3rd place. Now, number 58, Darren Smith, is on the tail of number 23, Jamie Golby, but watch for the red car there of Keith Vaughan-Williams, number 88 around the outside. He had that spin on lap 1, remember. He's already charged through a few drivers, and he's charging back up towards the top 6 now. So he gets around the outside of Darren Smith, and now onto the tail of Jamie Golby. So 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th all in close formation. Meanwhile, there's not too much of a gap between the top 2 now, because Hugh Marshall is within half a second of Andy Race. Meanwhile, what's going on here? There's another move. It's number 27 this time, Cliff Jobson, in that beautiful looking T350R, making his move on Jason Clegg. Meanwhile, look back from Andy Race. This is the leader, and onto his tail, and drawing alongside him now is Hugh Marshall, and the more powerful Tuscan comes around the outside, and Hugh Marshall, who started on pole position, dropped back to 4th place at one point, has now got himself back into the lead of the race. Andy Race down to 2nd position. Only 4 seasons of racing for Andy. Did do some track days in the early 1980s, but he's far less experienced than Hugh Marshall. He's doing a good job nonetheless. And what's this? All this battle for 5th place coming past one of the Tasmans. It's the Tasman of Kevin Gore, just 18 years of age. And number 27 is Cliff Jobson, forcing his way through there, the back marker. Meanwhile, at the head of that scrap, you'll notice number 88, Keith Vaughan-Williams, has got ahead now of Jamie Golby. So all the way from the back after that first lap spin, he's up into 5th place now. They're going to lap another car. This is 40 Lee Jones in the Class B Tasman. Lee on his home circuit here at Brands Hatch. His 4th season of racing. He makes way for the battle to come through. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th still tied together. They're pulling away though from the number 4 of Jason Clegg, another relatively inexperienced driver but with lots of potential. And here's a move from Darren Smith. He's about to draw alongside Jamie Golby, and Jamie's demoted another place. That's 2 positions lost by the looks of it in the last lap. Yes, through does come Darren Smith. He had the inside line. He made that move stick thanks to a good exit from Clearways, and another position gain there for him. So 5th is Keith Vaughan-Williams, number 88, the red machine. Then it's Smith, then it's Golby, and then it's Cliff Jobson there, hard on the brakes. The Northamptonshire base driver. Spent plenty of seasons racing in TVRs. Looking back now then from Andy Racing in 2nd position, and he's putting a lap on the number 1 car of Dave Chant, the overall champion from last year, the Class C champion in his TVR Tasman. We return then to this battle for 5th position. Keith Vaughan-Williams under attack now from Darren Smith, and just behind Jamie Golby. He's coming under fire from the T350R of Cliff Jobson, who's getting very close, under braking into Paddock Hill Bend. He's got around the outside of him there, just off camera. So the orange machine picks up a place, up to 7th position now. Darren Smith closing under braking here, but he won't be able to get through at Druids, so he'll have to sit behind Keith Vaughan-Williams for the time being. Better get a move on though. Right, here are the race leaders, and it's bunching up again between the top 3 because Andy Race is not that far behind the race leader, and just behind him Martin Crass in the white Tuscan in 3rd position. Here's his battle for 5th once again, and around the outside this time comes Cliff Jobson. That's a brave move, and he's just about given the room to do it. Keith Vaughan-Williams lets him go. Can he fight back on the way into Graham Hill Bend? No, the inside line is covered, so they dart in there, and dropping behind both of them now is Darren Smith. Now this is a good run out of Graham Hill Bend for Keith Vaughan-Williams. Bit of contact there with the left rear corner of Jobson onto the grass, but they just about survive, and that brings the next pair onto them. But a little bit out of shape here is Jamie Golby, and the increasing damp circuit here has thrown him off onto the grass, and he spins as well as he rejoins. It looked like he was going to get through, but onto that damp grass, and the traction on these slick tyres is not great, so he'll get back in the race. Meanwhile, it's still side by side between Keith Vaughan-Williams and Cliff Jobson as they go around Paddock Hill Bend, absolutely neck and neck. Now who's going to get to Druids first? Who's going to bottle it first on the brakes? Well, the inside line is with Keith Vaughan-Williams. Cliff Jobson's having none of it though. He's still trying to go around the outside. He knows the inside line is going to be at Graham Hill Bend for the next corner, but he has to back off out of it. Fantastic battle between those cars. Here though is the race leader, and he's just got one more corner to go, and Hugh Marshall, after a tricky start to the race, is going to come through now to take the victory by just a small margin here at Brands Hatch. A terrific race. Then we had a great battle between the eventual winner Hugh Marshall and Andy Race for the overall lead, and there was that great scrap as well for 5th position, which went all the way through. Oh, and there's still drama here because that's number 1 Dave Chant having a spin right at the end of the race, but he recovers and he'll still win his class. Hugh Marshall wins, Andy Race wins Class B, Martin Crass and Perry Wadhams take 3rd and 4th, Keith Vaughan-Williams finishes 2nd in Class B, then it's Cliff Jobson in 6th, followed by Darren Smith, Jason Clegg, Jamie Golby and Class C winner Dave Chant.
It's a very difficult start here at Brands. It's slightly uphill, and I lost it. I got too much wheel spin. The others came past me, so I thought, well, I don't know how slippery it is. I'll just sit on the back, see how they're going, and then begin to push. And I did, and that's what happened. Got through to the front and managed to gap Andy and hold the gap to the end.
And well done to Andy Race, who pushed Hugh Marshall hard despite being in a less powerful Class B car.
To be honest, on a short circuit like Indy, where it's all in and out of corners, they don't gain as much as they do on the big circuits like Snetterton. At Snetterton, they really do just leave us for dead. But here, you know, they don't get to use the big legs so much, so we can always have a bit of a tussle here. We like Brands.
After the break, the rain comes down and there's plenty of drama from the Alpha Shop Alfa Romeo Championship, and with another race from the Autosport Caterham Academy.